Hi, and welcome back to Terry Talks Movies. In this box are 25 discs of physical media, and they are going to dominate the next 24 hours of my life because I'm doing another 24-hour movie marathon. The discs in this box are movies that I want to see, movies that I don't want to see, and a few of them are not actually movies at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly select them one by one, take them out of the box and watch them and do a brief review of them over the next 24 hours. Realistically, I can probably get through about half of them, but we'll see how it goes. Now, there are a couple of things in that box I definitely don't want to watch, and there are a few things in that box I definitely do want to watch. So let's see how it goes. Welcome to the 24-hour movie marathon Lucky Dip. Okay, it's a little after 5:30 and I've got to pick the first video now. So I'm going to show you the randomly selected video, and I'm going to show you the way that I randomly selected. To be honest with you, I'm a bit apprehensive, but that's the game. The game is to be apprehensive until you know which movie you're going to watch. So the first one is going to be coming up soon, and we'll see what it is. Let me just set up the camera. Pick a number between 1 and 25.
20.
Number 20, and the algorithm did me a solid because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. 1952, starring Kirk Douglas, Lana Turner, Walter Pidgeon, and Dick Powell. The Bad and the Beautiful. I am so happy about this. I know there are going to be things I don't want to watch later on, but this one is a classic, directed by Vincente Minnelli. I've seen it a number of times, and I'm going to see it again now. Well, in 20 minutes at least, because it's only 5:40. Not a particularly long movie. I think it runs about 100 minutes at the most. And I'm looking forward to revisiting it and revisiting the characters. It's going to be a blast. Talk to you about it after I watch it.
The Bad and the Beautiful.
Don't talk like that about Georgia. Or Jonathan. He's a great man.
There are no great men, Buster. There's only men.
Okay, The Bad and the Beautiful, one of the great Hollywood movies about Hollywood, and it still holds up this time around. I've seen it like 6 or 7 times, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But this time around, I was looking at things like the lighting and the framing of characters in the frame, and for me, it's and I learned even more about how movies are made by watching this weird movie about how to make movies. One of the themes of the movie that I really like is how much hard work it is to actually make a film, and a lot of Hollywood movies don't carry that as well as this one did. Now, 10 years after The Bad and Beautiful, of course, Vincente Minnelli made a second movie about making movies, 2 Weeks in Another Town, which again starred Kirk Douglas. It also had Edward G. Robinson in it, George Hamilton, Dahlia Lavi. Yeah, movies about making movies always have a fascination for me. And rewatching this one was just as rewarding as it was the first time I watched it. And that wonderful ending is still wonderful. And the thing I took away from this time is the way that lighting is used in the very final scene to really enhance what's going on in the minds of the 3 characters in that very last scene. Fantastic movie. Glad I started out the 24-hour with it. Time to find out what the next movie is. And again, it's a lucky dip. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a movie I like, but I will soon find out once I get the random number from my Google Home. Pick a number between 1 and 25.
Here's a random number, 7.
Winter Kills, William Ricketts movie with John Huston. Yeah, conspiracy theory. Been wanting to rewatch this one. We'll get it in the player and we'll play it. So, 2 for 2 so far. Not a bad thing. Winter Kills, mad movie. Totally mad movie. It's a conspiracy theory movie about the brother of an assassinated US president who investigates his brother's murder. Jeff Bridges is good in it. John Huston plays a villain worse than he played in Chinatown. Richard Boone's in it wearing a poncho. Elizabeth Taylor turns up but doesn't actually have any dialogue. Anthony Perkins is in it. This movie is an insane dark comedy. There's the back of it, but there's the front of it. Insane dark comedy, which is a lot of fun if you just have your tongue in your cheek and just let it flow over you. It is mad, and there are more people in this supporting cast too. There's Eli Wallach, a whole bunch of others. It was fun to watch. It was very different than the first movie, The Bad and Beautiful, but it was mad to watch, and it is really darkly humorous. So it's time to select the third movie. Pick a number between 1 and 25.
Here's a random number, 16.
So the third movie isn't actually a movie. It's one of the wild cards in the box, which is the Samurai TV series, which showed here in Australia in the 1960s, a Japanese samurai TV series. And the rule here is I'm going to watch 3 episodes and let you know what they're like. It was crazily popular between about maybe 64 and 67 here in Australia. It showed on TV and kids loved it. And I'm going to grok it and just enjoy the nostalgia of this one. Like I said, it's one of the wild cards. Better get started. Well, the third one's done. The Samurai, 3 episodes of it. Really great fun. The series was really popular in Australia, particularly among kids in the 60s. And it kind of got forgotten in Japan, but in Japan it was known as Onmitsu Kenshi, and only ran for a short period of time, but it had an enormous cultural impact here, because pretty much every kid who went home in the afternoon and watched TV knew about Jidaigeki TV series, like the Samurai. Unfortunately, the first 3 episodes that I watched didn't have one of the great characters of the series, Tombe the Mist, who's an eager ninja, friend of Shintaro, the samurais. He doesn't turn up until the second story in the story arcs of the series, but I think I'm going to continue to watch the Samurai once I finish the 24 hours, so it's time to find what I'm going to watch next. Pick a number between 1 and 25.
3.
Number 3, we got another winner, which is Harry Cornwell's Daughters of Darkness, an interesting vampire film from the 1970s, which again I saw in the cinema way back in the dim dark days. In fact, I think I saw it at the State Theatre in Sydney. I'm going to enjoy rewatching this one because it's one of the great lesbian vampire movies. So I'm doing 4 for 4 now. Haven't hit any of the bad ones yet, which worries me a little bit because it kind of leads me to think I may hit some of the dodgy movies just as I get really tired, which is going to be an ordeal. But we'll see how we go, and I'll watch Daughters of Darkness. It's now 11:26, so I'll do this about 11:30 and go on from there. So Daughters of Darkness, I saw this movie a number of times, the first time in the 1970s, when I didn't fully appreciate it. It's a really slow burn vampire movie set in Ostend during the off-season. Delphine Seyrig is really great as Elizabeth Bathory. John Carlson is great as Stefan, and Andrea Rao as well. It builds its atmosphere wonderfully, and it builds up this kind of slow, languid sense that the vampire is an almost passive predator. There's not a vampire quite like the one in this movie, and I really enjoyed that part of it. It was good to revisit it, and I'm glad I got the Blu-ray of it. Again, we've got to roll the dice and see what comes up next. Hopefully it's still something good, because I'm still running 4 for 4. But I'm going to take a quick lunch break and get myself a sandwich, and after that, we're going to find out what exactly I'm going to watch next. See what then. We'll pick a number between 1 and 25.
$18.
Okay, so we've got number 18, which is, he said, tilting this around the right way, Fear is the Key, which is one of the new imprint Blu-rays that I got only a couple of days ago. This is the current crop of imprint Blu-rays, they sent it to me, and Really interesting film. Stars Barry Newman. It's based on an Alistair MacLean novel. I haven't seen this since Jesus was playing Cowboys and Indians. So I'm going to really look forward to watching it. And so far we're 5 for 5 on the videos. It's now 1:21. And I'm going to watch this while I eat my lunch. And I will catch you guys on the flip side, let you know what I thought of it. Okay, here is the key.
You are truculent, insolent, and a man of violence.
Fantastic. You can't fault this one. Hidden gem. You've got to see this. 20-minute car chase through the bayous, Louisiana. Undersea adventure. The very first movie that Ben Kingsley made. This one you got to check out because it is the bomb. 1970s action at its best. So, moving on from that one, I've got to go pick another one. It's a bit after 3. What time is it? 3:18 p.m. Still going strong. See what comes up next. Give me a number between 1 and 25. There we go. There's another imprint. The Scarlet Hour, starring Carol Omar, Tom Tryon, and Jody Lawrence. I know nothing about this one. It's one of the imprints that I picked up, and I'm going to see what it delivers. It's now 3:21, so at 3:30 I'll start this one, and we'll move on into the afternoon and evening, and I'll see you guys after this. Okay, The Scarlet Hour. Nice little film noir. It came a bit late in the film noir cycle, being about 1955-56. But it's got a few good twists and turns. Some of the actors aren't particularly good, Tom Tryon particularly. But the supporting cast is good. You've got E.G. Marshall in there. You've got James Gregory. You've got Elaine Stritch, which for stage buffs is a big thing. And Nat King Cole sings a song at a nightclub. So, good value. But maybe not the best movie I've seen so far today. Time to move on to another film. Again, I don't know what it is. Again, Google is going to tell me. Give me a number between 1 and 25.
That's done. 5.
Okay, number 5 is the one Hammer film I've got in the box, which is Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, which I haven't watched for a long time. A little bit of an unusual Hammer film, but I think I'm going to enjoy it. The time now is 5:12. About 5:15 I'll start watching it, and we'll see how that one replays for me. Still doing good, still strong. By the time this one finishes, we're going to be well past halfway mark of the 24 hours, and yeah, I'm doing pretty damn good. So see you in the early evening. Okay, Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter. It's a lot of fun. It's a bit different for Hammer, which is kind of nice, and the take on vampirism is a bit different. You get some interesting actors in there as well, not Horst Janssen playing the titular character. He's as stiff as an ironing board. But Caroline Munro's in there, which a lot of people like. I'm not particularly a fan of her stuff, but that's okay. Ian Hendry shows up briefly playing kind of ruffian. And we also get John Carson, who was a long-time Hammer actor in there. And the big bad is played by Benedict Cumberbatch's mum, Wanda Venton. So yeah, this one's a bit different for Hammer, but if you haven't seen it, you should. And if you have seen it but you haven't seen it for a while, you probably should do that too. So we're coming up on movie number 8, and the time is almost 7 p.m. So we've gone more than halfway through the 24 hours, which is good. I'm still doing fine. Just had an espresso, which was beautiful. And I'm going to get some dinner and pick the next movie, which will be number 8. We'll pick a number between 1 and 25.
Ten.
It had to happen sooner or later. I hit 10 and I got the worst movie in the pack. Now, if you haven't seen this movie, it's horrible in 15 different ways. Unlikable comedy main character, sexist, stupid, and really, really horrible. And I'm going to have to sit through it. So, inevitably, after 7 good movies, the 8th one had to be one of the jokers in the pack. And this one is. I'm probably happier that I didn't get this at like 2 in the morning. But, yeah, I better get started and just get it over with. So I survived Keith Lemon the movie, or Keith Lemon the film. What the hell is it called? Keith Lemon the film. This movie is to cinema what Harvey Weinstein is to feminism. See middle-aged geek girls laughing because I had to sit through it. But basically, the only thing I could do to this movie that will do it any justice at all is I'm going to mail it to Pauline Hanson, who is our most conservative politician here and the biggest racist in Australian politics. So I'm going to give that to her because they deserve each other. That's all I've got to say. I want to move on. I want to find another movie to watch. This thing has drained the will to live out of me. Time to move on. So it's time to do another video. Pick a number between 1 and 25.
Here's a random number, 4.
So number 4 is Silent Running. And there's the time. It's 8:53. Time to do Silent Running. A bit of Douglas Trumbull, Bruce Dern, science fiction, action. I haven't seen this one since a very long time. But I'm going to sit down and give you my honest opinion of it later tonight. So this is movie number 9, I think, though Keith Lemon scrambled my brain a bit. Let's see how we go. Okay, Silent Running. Great performance by Bruce Dern. Really fine performance. Almost solo in this movie. Set in space. The science in the science fiction here is barely acceptable. There are some really stupid bits of science in this one. The special effects by Douglas Trumbull and his team, John Dykstra amongst others, really great. The special effects were really good. The model work, the evocation of being in space, all of that was great. But the plot was stupid. And the songs by Joan Baez were painfully bad. Not my favourite science fiction movie ever. I think that its heart was in the right place with the ecological message, but it just didn't work for so many different reasons. It's time to move on to another one. It's 10:29 now, so we've got to get on and do some more movies. So that leaves me with, about 7 hours left. Let's see how many movies I can get into. So we'll make another choice soon. Pick a number between 1 and 25.
10.
We'll pick a number between 1 and 25.
Here's a random number, 8.
Got the Andre Rieu. Okay, I've done 2 hours of Andre Rieu and his Viennese waltzes, and there are only a couple of bits of it I enjoyed. First one was when they showed you how they did the scaffolding for the concerts. And the second one was when Andre Rieu dumped a ton of asbestos on top of his audience. I'm kind of rapidly losing the will to live, so I'm hopefully going to get a better movie in this next selection. It is now just after midnight, so I've gone 18 hours so far, and I'm hoping to get some decent action films instead of some really shitty movies like I have had up until now. So let's see what we get. Pick a number between 1 and 25.
8. Here's a random number, 3. Here's a random number, 9.
Okay, the night's not a total waste because I picked number 9, and that is Mothra, the original gangster Mothra. So I'm going to hit myself up with a little bit of Japanese kaiju action and see how we go from there. So hopefully I can wash the taste of Keith Lemon and Andre Rieu out of my head and replace it with giant insects and little tiny women. See you on the flip side. Okay, it's just after 2 o'clock in the morning and I've got the dishwasher on in the background, but I did have a lot of fun with Mothra. See? Mothra. Yeah, a little bit of Toho action there, Inashiro Honda. The Peanuts singing the Mothra song. It was just the right thing after Andre Rieu, so it refreshed my palate wonderfully. Now, I've probably got time for 2 more movies before the 6 o'clock deadline, so we'll see what we can come up with in the magical box of mystery and horror. So I'll get on with that. So we've got one of the few Australian films in the box, in fact the only Australian film in the box. Umbrella Entertainment put it out, and it's Shirley Barrett's Love Serenade, which I like a lot. It stars Miranda Otto, and it is a little bit of magic realism set in the riverlands of the Murray River and in the north of Victoria, so that is going to be a really fun one to enjoy. So Love Serenade, just finished it. Shirley Barrett's movie with Miranda Otto and Rebecca Frith and George Shetsov. Nice little country town, dark comedy, a little bit of magic realism. It's about a pair of sisters who live in a country town on the Murray River area of Victoria, who form a relationship with a local DJ called Ken Sherry, played by George Shetsov. And he may or may not be human. It's a beautiful little country town kind of hidden gem of a movie with some great needle drop of 1970s pop songs. Mostly disco, but not just disco. It's got quirky characters. It's got some really nice locations, beautifully shot by Shirley Barrett, the director and writer. And you got to see this one. Real hidden gem. Time to do the last movie, which is going to be hopefully not too long, because I do need some sleep, and hopefully not a piece of shit, because I've still got some pieces of shit movies in the case. So let's see what we get.
9, 18, 3, 13.
13 it is. So for the last movie, we've got Solomon Kane with James Purefoy, bit of sword and sorcery, based on the stories by Robert E. Howard, same guy who did Conan. Pretty good movie. I've seen it before, but I'm going to watch it again, and I'll talk about it after we finish. Well, it's 5:40 in the morning, and I've made it. I just finished watching Solomon Kane, a nice, solid sword and sorcery movie with James Purefoy. It's also got Max von Sydow in it, and a whole bunch of other familiar faces. Didn't make a lot of money, but I think it's a good, honest, solid adaptation of the Robert E. Howard stories. Luna says hi. And so it's time for me to go to bed. I'm going to finalize the video when I had some sleep and kind of just summarize my thoughts. And she just knocked something over. Just summarize my thoughts on everything and tie it all up in a little ribbon for you. Thanks for hanging around for the video, and I'll see you after I get some sleep. Okay, so it's days later and I'm finalizing the 24-hour video that I've just edited. It was fun doing it. The two that I didn't like, the Andre Rieu and the Keith Lemon, really knocked my energy levels. They sapped me really badly. And having middle-aged geek girl come in and snicker at me wasn't helpful either. But nonetheless, I got through them. If I was going to pick 3 of the 13 that I really enjoyed most, actually 4. First one would be Mothra. I love Mothra. I love the package that Eureka put out in their Masters of Cinema, with a whole bunch of extras on it. That was a birthday gift a couple of years ago, and I really appreciate that. The second one would definitely be Fear is the Key with Barry Newman. Fantastic hidden gem. The car chase lasts 20 minutes near the start of the film, and then the movie takes a tangent into a different kind of adventure. Ben Kingsley's first movie. Barry Newman is fantastic in it. Susie Kendall's kind of, Susie Kendall. John Vernon is really good playing the main villain as well. We got the Irish actor, I think he's Irish, Ray McAnally playing one of the other villains. It's a weird film too, because it was filmed partly in America and partly at Bray Studios in England, where the Hammer films were made around the same time. Weird combination of styles and looks in this film. But it works as well. It's also got Dolph Sweet in there, a character actor who people might remember from back in the day in America. He's in there as well, playing another guy. So nice, solid 70s action that's forgotten now. Of course, you've got The Bad and the Beautiful, which is my favourite movie of all time. The very first movie I did on the 24-hour. Fantastic stuff. I love it. I will always love it. Vincente Minnelli's one of those directors that I can take or leave some of his stuff, but this one really hits my sweet spot. So there's that. And the other one that I really appreciated was Shirley Barrett's Love Serenade from 1998. Nice, solid Australian dark comedy. Shirley Barrett unfortunately died this year, and her work has been underappreciated for a long time. She didn't make many movies because She was working at a time when it was very hard to get funding. She had to scramble to get movies made, but she made a few really solid Australian films, and Love Serenade is definitely one of them. And all credit to Umbrella Entertainment for putting it out in a nice Blu-ray package. It's a real solid Australian hidden gem, and I love it. So they were the 4 that I really liked. I think 4 out of 13. There were others that were entertaining as well, to lesser degrees. But yeah, those hand grenades I threw in that box that came out and burst in my face really messed me around. The energy levels were okay. You might notice towards the end of the video that I got a little bit more sluggish, but that's the nature of being 65 and staying away for 24 hours. Nonetheless, I'm going to do one each year. Different theme each time, but they're challenging for me. They're dangerous in some ways, as you saw, and they're also a lot of fun to do. The editing process is a little less fun, but on the other hand, that's part of the game. I'm putting this out kind of between Christmas and New Year, so I hope your holidays have been good, and I hope they continue to be good. And I hope that 2023 is a year of great wonderfulness for you, because you deserve it. We all deserve it. And if we follow our better angels, we will get through it all. Again, if you like the video, you can subscribe, like, leave a comment, hit the notification bell. You can also support the channel financially by donating a few bucks a month at patreon.com/PaleoCinema. So look after yourselves, watch some good movies, watch some bad movies. Do a 24-hour marathon if you dare, and I'll catch you next time.